We finally have the full list of the vehicles you should and shouldn't buy. Or, okay, I'll be more politically correct about that. The full list of the cars that now qualify for the IRA incentives are those that don't and those that get half. This is the official list. It's the final list for this year. It gives you a good idea of which cars you should maybe consider over other ones. For example, did you know the Ford Mustang Mach-E is in general between $8,000 to $20,000 more expensive than the equivalent Tesla Model Y? Yep, it's a massive difference. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Here are the EVs that qualify for the Inflation Reduction Act's tax credits. Now, there's been numerous videos and articles. I'm sick of hearing about this stuff, to be honest. It's great, but I'm sick of hearing about it because of all the confusion. This is the official final list for this year. No more changes. This is it. These are the electric vehicles that qualify for either the full $7,500 credit, the ones that get $3,750, and the ones that now no longer qualify. There were some that did. Now they don't. So if you were going to buy one of those, well, they're all now $7,500 more expensive than they were before. Now there are only 10 electric cars that qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit. This is when including increasingly stringent critical mineral and battery component sourcing requirements take effect on Tuesday. This is actually a pretty big advantage now for Tesla versus their competition. In the past, like last year, their cars didn't qualify at all, not because of any fault of their own. They'd sold more than 200,000 EVs, so they hadn't qualified for more than a year. Big disadvantage to them versus their competitors. Now the shoe is on the other foot. Already, of course, the competitors are whining and moaning and saying it's not fair. I mean, it's totally unfair. It's racially biased against us. That's what the Japanese are saying. We didn't know about this. We weren't given enough time. There's all kinds of excuses and things to say. But interestingly, Tesla never really said anything about it. To be fair, they never really complained when it wasn't fair to them last year. It really wasn't at all. But now I think it is reasonable. Under the Inflation Reduction Act, buyers who meet certain income thresholds can get a tax credit of up to $7,500 for North American assembled new EVs that meet certain price restrictions, meaning some cars just don't qualify at all. So you need to consider that because that car that doesn't qualify is now a lot more expensive. Starting on Tuesday, the credit will be split into two, with $3,750 for EVs that have at least 40% of the value of the battery's critical minerals extracted or processed in the United States, or in a country where the US has a free trade agreement, or for materials that were recycled in North America. So that includes the Tesla Model 3 standard range. The cheapest Tesla Model 3 is the only Tesla vehicle that doesn't get the full tax credit. It only gets to $3,750 because the battery cells come from China. Another $3,750 is available if at least half of the value of the EV's battery components are made or assembled in North America. All other Tesla EVs qualify for the full $7,500 incentive. You probably already knew that, but you might not know the other vehicles that do or don't. Now, those percentages will change over time, maxing out at 80% in 2027 for minerals and 100% in 2029 for battery components. Now, that's one of the key reasons why General Motors, Tesla are sourcing their future minerals from Canada. So it's a good thing for Canadians. Despite those restrictions, consumers looking to purchase EVs will still have credit-eligible options in the near term, while incentivizing automakers and their battery partners to continue ramping up US production, Biden administration officials say. Nearly 65% of EV sales in the first quarter of 2023 qualified for the credit under the North American Assembly and sticker price requirements, according to a preliminary analysis by the administration. More than 90% of those previously eligible first quarter sales remain eligible under the EV battery sourcing requirements. But some of them no longer qualify for the full incentive. So here is the list. The cars that still qualify. Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid gets the full incentive. I don't agree with plug-in hybrids getting it. I think they should get half maximum, if any. That's my take. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think the plug-in hybrids should get it? Should they get half? Should they get nothing? In fact, if I was making the decisions, I'd say nothing. But anyhow, the reason that I say that is because most of them are not driven as plug-in hybrids. People just They don't charge them, so they just drive them around as gasoline-powered cars, which is stupid, but apparently that's what people do. The other car that does qualify is the Ford F-150 Lightning standard and extended range battery. That's the two cheapest options. Then you've got the 2022-23 Lincoln Aviator Grand Touring, the Chevrolet Bolt and the Bolt EUV. You can see why they're selling really well. They're so incredibly cheap. Then you've got the Cadillac Lyriq. Very hard to get one of those, by the way. I don't recommend one for that reason. The Chevrolet Silverado, when it comes out, that's a 2024 model. The Chevrolet Blazer when it comes out. The Equinox when it comes out. The Model 3 Performance, the Model Y all-wheel drive, the Model Y long-range all-wheel drive, and the Model Y Performance. So out of this list, you can see really there's only about 8 models of car you can get that qualify for the full incentives, and 4 of those are Teslas. The rest of them are cars that you either can't get or they're not available until next year or the end of this year or in very, very limited numbers, meaning you can't get them. Okay, who qualifies for the 3,750? The Jeep Wrangler plug-in hybrid. That's actually kind of a cool car. Now pretend I didn't say that because it's a plug-in hybrid. The Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid, the Ford E-Transit, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, standard and extended range battery, the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid, the Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring, and the Tesla Model 3 standard range. That's the only Tesla model that doesn't get the full credit. Vehicles that are no longer eligible, meaning they get nothing now, going from 7,500 to nothing. In other words, you might want to change your mind on whether or not you get one of these because that's a lot of money. That's a big difference. The 2023 Audi Q5 TFSI Quattro plug-in hybrid. The 2021 to 2023 BMW 330e plug-in hybrid. I don't recommend you get one of those anyway. The BMW X5 xDrive 45e plug-in hybrid. The Genesis GV70, the Nissan Leaf doesn't get it. The Rivian R1S, the Rivian R1T, the Volkswagen ID4, and the Volvo S60. So yeah, I mean, I recommended people buy the ID4 previously because it was $39,000 for the cheapest variant. Then it qualified for the $7,500 tax credit, meaning you could get it for about $31,500. I think it's a better car for that price versus, say, a Chevy Bolt EUV. Now, though, no way. You'd have to be crazy to buy that car, considering you can pay an extra $3,000, get the all-wheel drive Model Y. It's a much superior car than the base version ID4. So that really changes things a fair bit here. Volkswagen, by the way, is going to hit them big time because their sales this year have improved versus last year, but primarily because of the ID4. They've been selling, right, nearly as many ID4s as Ford have all electric cars combined over the past 3 months. Now ID4 sales will most likely tank because that's a big difference for a budget-priced electric car. It is a budget-priced car. I mean, $32,000 for a car that size. That's cheaper than an equivalent gasoline-powered car that size. Now it will no longer be cheaper, and so people will just say, well, do we want that now? Probably not. Get a Bolt EUV, a Tesla Model Y. Yeah. March 2023 was as good as it gets. John Bozzella, CEO of the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, which represents most major automakers in the US, said of vehicle eligibility. And now things have changed big time. Given the constraints of the legislation, Treasury's done as well as it could to produce rules that meet the statute and reflect the current market. The previous tax credit's 200,000 unit per automaker sales cap was eliminated for vehicles sold on or after January the 1st, allowing EVs produced by Tesla and General Motors to once again qualify. If you didn't know about this story, last year, GM and Tesla's vehicles, for all of the year, Tesla vehicles didn't qualify. For some of the year, GM's vehicles, EVs, didn't qualify. The United States government was penalizing General Motors and Tesla for selling too many EVs. And it was giving money away to Japanese automakers, to Korean automakers for making EVs outside of the American continent, just giving them money for making EVs in their countries, in Europe. Unbelievable they did this for more than a year. Anyhow, foreign automakers, including BMW, Genesis, Nissan, and Volkswagen, all had vehicles previously eligible for the credit. None of their vehicles qualify now under the new restrictions. However, some automakers such as Hyundai Motor Group and Nissan have plans to manufacture EVs in the US, eventually allowing their models to qualify for at least a partial credit in future years. And Hyundai, they're planning on doing this. They're saying their EVs will be available in about a year. There's no chance that that's going to happen. They're not going to be able to actually make EVs in the US in less than 12 months. They haven't even got the production lines. Nothing's really started yet. So that's not happening. I mean, I wouldn't be waiting for that if you're in the market for a car today. However, things could change next year because starting in 2024, vehicles are ineligible if they contain any battery components that are manufactured by a foreign entity of concern, meaning China, which could include any companies controlled by China. So this is going to really cause some serious issues because we don't know how this is going to affect automakers next year. I mean, how are they going to judge this? Don't know. That exclusion starts in 2025 for critical minerals though. I'm going to guess they'll probably ignore some of that stuff because that's going to be really hard to work out how you're going to penalize automakers. And I mean, if you only have about 8 models of car that actually qualify, will anyone qualify next year if they actually enforce that rule? Probably not. Anyhow, that's the full list. This is final. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What car will you be considering? Does the EV tax incentive make a difference to what your decision will be on what you buy?